Last time on our story, it was parent-teacher night, and Liz brought her very lazy foster parents. Other than that, you pretty much know what happens if you've seen the episode. Liz didn't really contribute very much to the story this time. That's why it's one of my lesser favorite chapters. It's not a lot different to the plot. Most of them there's not a lot different to the plot, but she at least contributes more, but in Parents I know she didn't really contribute a lot. But anyway, this time I actually have a few things to talk about before we get started. I am in the middle of writing the chapter equivalent to Chickenfoot, so yeah, I'm pretty far in the story. I'm probably not going to have a lot beyond Tack, because I don't have access to season 2 at all because I'm poor, and so after Tack it'll mostly be like a little bit of things and then time jumps, lots of time jumps after that. So that means I'm pretty much close to the end of writing. What else? It's December 27th as I'm recording this, so I hope y'all had a wonderful holiday season. I always forget. I always feel like there's something else I need to say. But I can't think of things to say. So, anyway, I guess we can get started then on chapter 4. Coo Coo! Hopefully, by that you know which episode or chapter we're on. One of my favorites, one of everybody's favorites. I think when you think of Invader Zim being dark, you think of this episode. So anyway, Coo Coo. Another few days later, we were all outside for recess. I wasn't sure why, but I now feel the need to spend as much time with my friend Zim as I can. He's nearly all I can think about. Every day I walk him home from school. I've been in his house many times now and seen him without his disguise enough. I absolutely love Gur. He reminds me of some of the pups in my old pack. Dib and I don't talk much anymore. I haven't been to his house in over a week, and I used to go at least 4 days a week. I miss him, of course, but he's the one that's acting like such a pup and bullying Zim all the time. I tell Dib to stop, but the more I defend Zim, the more Dib seems to despise him. During recess, a child was hit in the gut with a ball. Oh, my organs! I feel like that impression, oh my gosh. I don't know where that came from. I need to stop saying that. Zim started laughing at the boy. Ha 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 ha! Inferior human organs! A ball then hit Zim in the same area. Ah, my squeedly spooch! I was on all fours near the trash can and smirked. That wise avoid standing on 2 legs, Zim. Back in class, Miss Bitters was lecturing us on the Black Plague. So you see, Ring Around the Rosy refers to the horrible symptoms of a horrifying disease. I had a bit of something to say on the matter. You say plague was spread through rats and fleas rats carried. Well, us wolves eat rats. If you weak immune system humans had let more of us into your villages, we have caught them vermin and more of you survive. You're not a wolf, I heard from the back of the class. At that moment a pigeon flew in through the open window and perched itself on Zim's head. Zim! Zim sat up at Miss Bitters, calling on him. "Sir! There's a pigeon on your head. You've got head pigeons. Get to the nurse before they spread to the other children." Zim climbed out of his desk. "Yes, Miss Bitters." "No leaving class without a hall pass, Zim." Zim turned back to the teacher. "Of course." Miss Bitters gave him a neck device that would explode if it left the premises. While Zim was near Dib started whispering to Zim, but thanks to my superior wolf ears, I was able to pick up every word. "You know, Zim, when the nurse examines you, she'll notice you don't have human organs. And it's just a short step to a hospital, and from there to an alien autopsy table, and then you're just another segment on Mysterious Mysteries." I started growling lowly towards Dib. Oh yeah, there's like almost no chapters where Liz doesn't start growling at some point. I noticed that the other day as I was writing. "I'll be fine. I bet my squeedly spooch on it." As Zim exited the classroom, I told him, "Later, little buddy." After an hour or so later, Dib raised his hand, and I looked to see a pencil sticking out of his nose. "Miss Bitters, I think a pencil is lodged in my brain. Can I go to the nurse?" So nonchalant. "How far in your brain?" Dib looked down at the pencil. "Pretty far." "All right, take the auxiliary hall pass." Miss Bitters pointed to a large heater. Not long later, the bell rang for lunch. I pranced down to the cafeteria to find everyone pale and groaning in pain. Zim wasn't at our usual table. I found Gaz tapping at her lap, which was glowing. "Gaz, what going on?" "Go away, she-wolf, I'm almost done with this level." I backed away from her and suddenly heard a pigeon cooing. I looked over to see an extremely large and lumpy Zim sitting at our table. I rushed over to him. "Zim, what happened to you? What do you do?" I was on 2 legs. "Oh, nothing, just—" We were interrupted by Dib running over. "That's it, Zim. This has to stop." I shook my head while staring at Zim. "You know, I can't help but agree with Dib this one." Dib looked at me surprised. "You do? I mean, of course you do, Liz." Zim played dumb. "I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about." "Look at you! You've gone too far! You're a hideous blob of stolen organs." I nodded in agreement with Dib. "I've been working out." Zim started gagging, and an intestine spilled out of his mouth and landed around me and Dib. Zim slurped it back up like a noodle and smiled. I wasn't grossed out by any of it. Come on, I eat raw rats and squirrels. What freaked me out was how he'd stuffed himself like this. One of each organ would have sufficed. You think you could fool a trained medical professional?" "Yes." "I suppose you've got a heart in there, 6 of them, intestines, large or small, spleen, in 3 different colors. What about lungs?" Zim raised a hand and was about to answer, but stopped. He brought out his mechanical legs from his pack and rose to the vent. "You won't find lungs on my watch, Zim." Dib turned to me and grabbed my shoulders. "Liz, we've got to stop him from stealing any more organs." I nodded, and we looked around the cafeteria. We found Torque, who was colorful, eating and lifting a dumbbell. Dib and I rushed over to him. I was back on 4 legs. You look like you've still got all your organs." "Yeah, totally." Torque tapped at his chest. "Yeah, so?" "You're in danger. Come with us." Dib told him. I have to go lift things. Dib glanced at me. Then we'll come with you. So we were all walking down the hallway, and Torque kept lifting as Dib explained everything to him while frantically looking around. I was on fours walking next to Torque, who looked down at me after Dib ranted for a while. Is he always like this? I looked up at Torque. Yeah, you'll get used to after a while. All of a sudden, Torque was no longer next to me. I looked up again to see him being dragged towards the vent by a mechanical spider leg. I looked back at Dib, who still hadn't noticed. Dib? He looked at me swiftly. Yeah, Liz? He saw Torque was gone. Oh no. Oh yeah, I told him. We then heard some zapping sounds coming from one of the rooms, and we ran to the dark taxidermy room just as the zaps stopped. Torque's Packy, is that you? Dib turned on the light, and I started sniffing the ground and the air for either the scent of testosterone, alien, or pigeon. We searched and searched the room, but couldn't find anything. Come on, man, talk to me. Let me know you're still here. I caught it then. The scent of pigeon and the scent of alien. But at that point, it was too late. The metal leg had wrapped itself around me and pulled me into the vent. Zim held me down with a hand over my mouth. I could hear Dib searching for me below. I bit Zim's hand and he hissed quietly. If you must take organ from me, take my skin and replace with flesh and fur of already deceased wolf, I told him. I'm more wolf than human on inside, make so on outside. I don't need your flesh, puny wolf child. Well, no take any other organs. You have more enough already. Since you've been my only real friend since my coming to Earth, I will spare you, and you will be grateful, Zim whispered. I do feel grateful, I nodded. Good, Zim grinned, before lowering himself down to chase after Dib. My heart was racing like it does after chasing a rabbit for a mile, and I sighed. Zim really does think of me as his friend, even to the point where he spares me over every other human. He didn't have to do that. At the end of the day, Zim was cleared of his head pigeon and deemed one of the healthiest boys the nurse had seen. Dib was accused of being a human-cow hybrid because Zim had replaced his lungs with a moonmaker. I spent the evening at the membrane house. There's the end of that chapter. So, like I said, we're only at the beginning in the reading, but in writing I'm pretty close to being done with the whole thing. I'm thinking of doing something else with the story, like maybe turning it into a comic. I don't know. If not, I'm also got another fanfic story in mind that's a different sort of, I don't know. I guess I'll explain it more some other time, but I don't know. Just let me know what y'all are thinking of the story so far. And please come back. I want to hear feedback so badly. It's very important that I get feedback. Thanks. Bye. Have a good